really interesting. A lot of them are just not looking at him at all, even though he's standing and talking.
Right.
That's really interesting.
Uh-huh.
And nobody's amused, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, they just thought it was puzzling that they would be out considering all the things that have been said in this war between Blake and Justin. So
it looks like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds might not be the picture-perfect couple we've all believed them to be. Word on the street is that celebs are finally spilling the tea about how this power couple may have tried to pull some shady moves behind the scenes. And fans are not happy. From questionable business deals to sneaky Hollywood maneuvers, the receipts are coming out. And it's not looking good for Blake and Ryan. Things first took a turn when Blake Lively publicly accused her, It Ends With Us, co-star and director Justin Baldoni, of harassment, a move that had everyone talking. But the drama didn't stop there. Justin hit back with a massive $400 million lawsuit against Blake and Ryan, accusing them of defamation, extortion, and even trying to hijack the entire project. Now, other celebrities are starting to back him up, suggesting that Blake and Ryan may have a history of manipulating situations to protect their image and gain sympathy. For years, they've been Hollywood's golden couple, but this scandal is making people wonder if that perfect public persona is just a cover for something a lot messier. And Ryan's not coming out of this unscathed either. Even reality TV stars Sammy Sweetheart Giancola and Dina Cortese recently spilled some tea, hinting that their run-in with Ryan Reynolds was less than pleasant. Dina admitted on Watch What Happens Live that Ryan wasn't great to us, which left fans wondering if the actor's nice guy image might just be an act. Put it all together, and Hollywood's favorite couple is facing some serious backlash. Could this be the beginning of the end for Blake and Ryan's carefully crafted image? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the cracks are definitely starting to show.
I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star. And this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out. And I think I was so vulnerable and uncomfortable that I got screamed at. And I would cry walking off set. This person would literally look at me in front of the whole crew and say, "You call yourself an actor, this is what I have to work with. What is this?" And I stood there just breaking. This happens. But because this person was number one on a call sheet, there was no safety net for me. So no one had my back. And I remember the next day I walked on and I said, "You get off my set." This is the first time I've ever spoken.
It looks like Hollywood's golden couple, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, might not be as squeaky clean as we all thought. For years, these two have been the picture-perfect pair, the witty, funny, charming duo everyone loves to root for. But lately, cracks are starting to show, and more people are coming forward to spill some serious tea about what it's really like to work with them. Let's start with one of the most shocking recent revelations. Actress Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca sat down for an interview and opened up about one of the most traumatic on-set experiences of her entire career. She didn't name names, but the way she described this mystery co-star had fans immediately trying to connect the dots. According to Rebecca, this actor was incredibly insecure about their own performance and started taking it out on her, screaming at her in front of the entire crew, belittling her acting skills and making her feel small every single day on set. Imagine being humiliated like that while trying to do your job. It got so bad that Rebecca said she would go home and cry after filming. But Rebecca didn't just sit back and take it. She clapped back in the most iconic way possible. At one point, she told this person to F off, and even told production that she'd rather act with a tennis ball than face them directly. And here's the wild part. Production actually allowed her to act to the back of their head instead of looking them in the eye. When Rebecca's story went viral, the internet exploded. Fellow actors rallied behind her. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson even gave her props publicly, praising her for standing her ground. Several of Rebecca's co-stars reached out to her privately, saying they knew exactly what she was talking about and had similar experiences. With difficult people in Hollywood. Now, here's where things get even messier. Rebecca didn't reveal the actor's identity. She said it doesn't matter who it was, and she doesn't want to drag their name into it. She did, however, confirm that it wasn't Tom Cruise or Hugh Jackman, which immediately led fans to start speculating about who it could be. And while nothing is confirmed, some people in social media were quick to point fingers at Ryan Reynolds, though Rebecca herself never said his name. But Rebecca isn't the only one people think might have had issues with Ryan. Jake Gyllenhaal, who used to be super close with Ryan, has completely distanced himself. They went from being playful and friendly in interviews to radio silence. Fans are now convinced something went down between them. because Jake hasn't said a word about Ryan in years. And we can't forget about Morena Baccarin, who played Vanessa in Dev. She was a major part of the first movie's success, only for her role to be dramatically cut down in the sequel. According to industry whispers, Morena and Ryan had a falling out on set, possibly over creative differences or jokes that didn't sit well with her. After that, she was quietly pushed to the sidelines. When Deadpool and Wolverine started making headlines, fans noticed Morena was completely missing from the press events and interviews. And when she did show up to the premiere, she was photographed standing alone on the red carpet, far away from Ryan and the main cast. Fans thought it was painfully obvious something was off. And some believe Ryan didn't want her included after their past drama. When you look at all these situations together, Rebecca Ferguson's viral story, Jake Gyllenhaal's silence, Morena's sudden absence, it starts to paint a very different picture of Hollywood's funny, nice guy. Maybe Ryan Reynolds isn't always the charming jokester we see in interviews. Maybe there's a much more complicated side to the man behind the Deadpool mask. And with Blake Lively now facing her own drama after accusing Justin Baldoni of harassment, followed by Justin slapping her and Ryan with a massive $400 million lawsuit. Hollywood insiders are starting to talk. Some are even suggesting that Ryan and Blake might be experts at flipping the narrative to win public sympathy and come out looking like the victims. At the end of the day, none of us really know what goes on behind closed doors. But one thing is for sure, the internet is watching, and every new piece of tea that drops is adding fuel to the fire. Could this be the beginning of the end for Hollywood's favorite power couple? Or are they just the latest victims of the celebrity rumor mill? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over, and the truth might be even messier than anyone expects.
But I think after he got super, super famous from the first Deadpool, then things kind of changed. I think he was like, see, you guys see? And then I think I don't know. I mean, would I work with him again? No.
No.
I would not work with him
That
again.
much vitriol.
But I've said that about Michael Bay, and now we're friends, and I would work with him again. But I think Michael Bay is different. And Michael Bay worked on a movie with Ryan Reynolds also. And so he has a very specific opinion
That may mirror
of
your
Ryan
own.
Reynolds. And that was a good part of our last conversation with me and Bay. But I sort of wish him well because he's so good at Deadpool. And I think it's weird that he hates me.
Oh, but we are definitely not done yet because Ryan's list of burned bridges just keeps getting longer. Another former Deadpool co-star, TJ Miller, the actor who played Weasel in the first two films, had a lot to say about working with Ryan. And let's just say none of it was good. TJ didn't just hint at drama. He came right out and said he left the Deadpool franchise because of Ryan Reynolds. And here's the kicker. He claims he wouldn't return for Deadpool 3 even if they doubled his paycheck. Yeah, you heard that right. He'd turn down millions of dollars just to avoid working with Ryan again. If that doesn't scream bad blood, I don't know what does. According to TJ, the treatment he got on set was so bad that it left a lasting impact on him. He said Ryan wasn't joking around or staying in character, he was deliberately putting him down in front of the crew, with no humor and no remorse. TJ explained that it wasn't about anything he personally did wrong. Instead, he believes Ryan's behavior came from a place of insecurity. He said it felt like Ryan needed to remind him who the bigger star was, almost as if Ryan was protecting his status as the face of the franchise. And this isn't just some petty beef. TJ insists that Ryan's behavior changed the whole vibe of the set for him, turning what should have been a fun, collaborative project into a toxic experience he never wanted to repeat. That's why he's so adamant about never coming back, not even for a massive payday. When you add TJ's story to the growing list of co-stars and insiders who've hinted at similar experiences, it really makes you wonder, is this all just one big misunderstanding? Or is Ryan Reynolds not quite the nice guy Hollywood wants us to think he is?
But you felt it coming from him.
Everybody did. That's why it was awkward. Everybody was like, why is Ryan doing this? And the other weird thing is like, maybe he got, I think he's kind of an insecure dude. He's really nice, but I mean, his Twitter bio is showing you the parts of me that tested the best in focus groups. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure that he's joking.
So,
I think that might actually be his real sentiment there.
And let's be real, this isn't the first time Ryan Reynolds has been called insecure. In fact, Some of the people who know him best, including his exes, have said the same thing. His insecurities seem to have left scars on more than just his career. They left scars on his relationships too. Take his marriage to Scarlett Johansson, for example. On paper, it seemed like a Hollywood dream match. They started dating in 2007, got engaged less than a year later, and tied the knot in 2008. But just a couple of years later. The marriage fell apart, and if you look closely at the timeline, it all happened around the same time Scarlett's career was skyrocketing. She landed major Marvel roles in Iron Man 2 and The Avengers. And while she was becoming a global superstar, Ryan's own career was struggling to find its footing. Scarlett has been pretty clear about what went wrong, without ever naming major issues in that relationship. She flat out said, "I don't like jealous behavior. It's unattractive because it shows insecurity. Controlling behavior is awful. Nobody is going to say they love that." And if that doesn't make you raise an eyebrow, think about Ryan's reputation on set. He's known for being incredibly hands-on. So hands-on, in fact, that he's been accused of taking over entire projects. Look at what happened with Tim Miller, the original director of Deadpool. Tim said he walked away from Deadpool 2 because Ryan wanted total control over the franchise. Tim put it bluntly, "I don't mind having a debate, but if I can't win, I don't want to play." And with Ryan calling all the shots, Tim knew it was time to go. So, when Ryan isn't pushing directors out of their own movies or alienating co-stars like TJ Miller, who has openly said he'll never work with Ryan again, he seems to be doing the exact same thing in his romantic life. And let's not forget how messy things got at the end of Ryan and Scarlett's marriage. Around the time things were falling apart, Ryan met Blake Lively on the set of Green Lantern while he was still married. The chemistry was undeniable, and it wasn't long before he latched onto Blake as his next great love, which, well, let's just say didn't exactly help the situation with Scarlett. Fast forward to today, and it seems like the word insecure follows Ryan everywhere. In interviews with his ex-wife, in stories from and even in whispers from directors who say he's impossible to work with. And it's not just one or two people saying this. Big names in Hollywood have started speaking up and throwing major shade. Quentin Tarantino once dismissed Ryan's entire Netflix catalog, saying those movies make money but don't matter, and that most people can't even remember what they watched. Ouch. Chris Columbus, yes. The director of Home Alone was so offended by Ryan's proposed stoner reboot of the classic film, titled Stoned Alone, that he called it an insult to cinema and told Ryan to just rewatch the original instead of ruining it. And then there's Gerard Butler, who low-key shaded Ryan in an interview. When someone compared his film Gamer to Ryan's Free Guy, Gerard said he'd never seen it, and then flat out admitted he doesn't watch Ryan Reynolds movies at all. That's not subtle shade. That's a direct hit. When this many people, ex-wives, directors, actors, and even Hollywood icons, start calling out your behavior, it's hard to ignore. Maybe Ryan really is just misunderstood. Or maybe, just maybe, the charming, sarcastic nice guy persona we see on screen is covering up something a lot more complicated. And if that wasn't enough, fans are now pointing out how similar all of this feels to the current Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni drama, between lawsuits, accusations, and public feuds. It's starting to look like Hollywood's golden couple might be playing the PR game a little too well, and that game might finally be catching up to them. If the golden couple act was just that, an act. Some are even speculating that Blake and Ryan might have been playing everyone all along. But what do you think? Are we finally seeing the real Blake and Ryan behind the Hollywood PR machine? Or are people reading too much into it? Drop your thoughts below because this story is getting messier by the minute.